New champ in Heroes of the Storm, huh? Who you been playing? Abathur, huh? He seems interesting. Alright. Is it morning? It's nighttime for me. Good night, Eternal. You guys went hard, stole lots of kills. Yeah, that sounds about right. Close enough. Ow! What hit me? Aw, poor guy. Headaches are the worst, man. Thankfully, I don't get them too often, but they are the devil. How are you doing tonight, Eternal? Hey, Bruno. Not necessarily a survival game. So for those of you late to the game, what is it? This game is a kind of horror survival almost. You are basically a colonist that went to the New World, and a whole colony disappeared, and you don't know why. So you're kind of here to figure out what's going on. Indians? That is the presumed theory. But there's something sinister going on here. Nothing like more explosives. But it's supposed to be kind of like a horror game, I guess. Dug up an Indian-style deerskin shoe. Judging by the size and shape, it most likely belonged to a woman. Don't remember them being so white. Yeah, like I said, there's something sinister. Every outpost or fort that you get to, there's generally a bell that you can ring. And when you do that, it sends you into this kind of shadow world. And inside the shadow world, you fight skeletons. Inside the real world, you fight kind of possessed / mutated Spaniards. But don't worry, Bruno, they're not Paraguayan. And there are some totems that you can find, and the totems will oftentimes have corruption, and they'll keep you from progressing. Yeah, you're kind of traveling through dimensions. It's weird. Every time you travel into the other world, you're able to talk to these wraiths, and the wraiths ask you to go and basically find out what happened to, like, their wife, or, like, they forget who they are, or, like, this person. Was your head taken from you? Stolen it was. I shall seek to return it to you. So apparently that dude had his head stolen, and now I gotta go find something or someone that stole it. He's probably gonna chill back at home base. Wait for me to get there. But yeah, so the Spaniards are like these weird bestial men that growl like wolves and bears. And then I just found Indians, and they are on fire for some reason. Lord knows why. I have never played the Darksiders games before. I swear that Francis Lavender recently accosted them after dark in the woods to the south, in search of his arm, which was severed in a raid several months ago. It is clearly a fiction, of course. Lavender did not survive that wound. Ooh. So now they be seeing ghosties. Yeah, a good friend of mine, Matt, has been playing through them on stream, and I've watched some of them. They look pretty interesting. Ooh. Curious. What is Darksiders even about? I know it's got something to do with, like, the Four Horsemen of the Apocalypse. Do all three of them have something to do with that? Seems a little repetitive. Okay, so you start off as war. More stuff I can't dig up. Chest is empty. All treasure chests found. Alright, we'll go back here. Talk to dude. Found a deerskin shoe near a scene of violence in the east of here. I remember an Indian girl, maybe 15 years old. She was naked except for one shoe. I didn't like the way she was staring at me, so I ran away. If I'm not mistaken, on the game... In the game were War, the second one Death, third one now announced as Fury, and the last one should be Famine. Strife. I forget what the Four Horsemen of the Apocalypse were. I know War, Death. I didn't know Fury. I thought one of them was like Pestilence. Fury is not real. That's only on... Ah, okay. Well, that doesn't make sense. Why not make it accurate? The original ones are war, death, famine, and pest. Okay, so I was right about pestilence. You're fine. I don't know where to go now. Should be someone over here, apparently. Is there clues? Battle was fought near a sentry post at Fort Henry. Battle replaced at the sentry post. Stench of corruption is lifted. Alright, so the only one I don't know are the ash figures and the bells. So I guess I'm done. Maiden in red. A young woman in a red cloak appeared along the path from the shore and sent a note attached to an arrow. Oh, she was the one who shot the note. Okay. I met her, but she doesn't remember her name. Shot herself in grief. Found his wife after she shot herself and stayed with her until she died. Grieving over accidental death of son. Murdered by Gregory Ward. Oh, but there's still more with these? Interesting. Failed to return to expedition, presumed dead. Traveling merchant who barters weapons and equipment. Fought in a skirmish near the sentry post. Father of Tabitha Markley. Vanished from Fort Henry without a trace. Sentries did not see any sign of her. Found at Fort Henry. Spied for the Spanish. Murdered Edmund Gotham to protect his secret. Caused a needless death of several men at the sentry post south of Fort Henry. Lest you become trapped. Drifted 8 hours. Haunted and cursed place. Resupply fleet. Strange contagion. Head and arms torn off. She finally spoke to me, doesn't remember her name, does not seem to see the wraiths or even preternatural darkness I have witnessed. Samuel remembers fighting Indians near the fort. He fired at one with his ramrod still in the barrel, knocking himself down. He remembers Captain Wilkinson yelling at him to get up. Uh-oh. Is it like the old iPad with like the big fat connector, or do you have like the new universal tiny one? Guess I'll go here and try talking to the chick. There you are. Spanish flag. Something ended badly. Duly noted. Lightning. It's an iPad mini. That's the universally small one, right? I honestly don't even know the names. Quite the IT guy I am. Yes, sir. Let me tell you. It's a little connector. Okay. Ow! Alright, I like this crossbow. If I can get a shot in anyway. It's very useful. Well, you might be able to find a decent one on Amazon. I recommend the one with the braided cords. Those are beautiful. Hear nothing else in the light. So I guess we'll traipse on. Unlocked the west gate. All destinations unlocked. Apple's highway robbery prices. It's a very good way to put it. They do charge an arm and a leg for their equipment. I had an old MacBook Pro, and this was before they made it out of that aluminum and everything. That was that's super fancy. This is like the old white plastic one, and the charger on it, the cable would break so often. I'd probably buy a new one, and like 6 months later it would break, and then I'd service it under warranty, and 6 months later it would break. It would always break in the same way. And it just got to the point where I got fed up with buying new ones. I looked at maybe getting just like pieces and tearing it apart and fixing it myself, but never got around to it. Well, at least you got something you can use in a pinch. Should be a totem right there, but there's not. Alright, well, I guess let's go try and take over the base up here. Doesn't look like I'll need to, actually. Looks empty and ready for me to take over. Cool. Oh, jeez. Alright, I wasn't expecting that. That was not cool. I don't appreciate those noises. Chest is empty? Alright. Got ourselves some stockades here. Alright, that should be the last of them. Who's trumpeting out there, huh? Huh? Oh. Oh. They are. They are trumpeting out there. Oof! Alright. Ow! Don't die, don't die, don't die, don't die, don't die. Oop, that's a big guy. That's a very big guy. Ow! That's not fair. Oh. Who wants more, huh? Jeez. Ah, shoot. I sold a musket, and I need one of those. There we go, not thinking again. I guess we'll switch to the longbow real quick. What? Really? I don't have much ammo for either of these. That would be a Spanish soldier. Though with the age of your iPad, it's getting harder to stand using it. Apple devices rarely stay usable after their last iOS upgrade. Yeah, once they hit that final iOS upgrade, everything just seems to go downhill with them. I agree. I had an iPhone 4 for the longest time, and it did not want to last once it hit that last upgrade. Dug up a blood-stained strip of cloth that appears to have come from a woman's gown. Last night, the sentry rang the warning bell, swearing he saw a dark, towering figure moving through the cornfield. Men searched all around the perimeter with torches and found no one. But this morning, the stalks were withered and the corn rotted in its husks. Yikes. These dreams and outbursts of hers are no more than manifestations of my daughter's grief over the disappearance of her sister. Should you mention the supernatural again in regards to Allison, you shall find her mother a more perilous adversary than you have yet made in this place. Yeah, it's like a big ol' Templar buddy. And he wants nothing to do with me. Except to chuck rocks at my face. Dionys Barnes brought me a vile effigy he happened upon while scouting the forest to the west. It is fashioned from twigs and animal bones and quite indisputably depicts the visage of Satan. I cast it into a fire, but it did not burn, only blackened, so I buried it well away from the fort. Really, lady? You gotta spook me like that? Thought you might need this? Clapper for a bell. Thanks, lady. Alright, I'm not gonna put that in just yet. I got more things to find. Appears that someone was burnt here. Nothing like a communal bonfire, am I right, guys? We are come to the very garden from which Eve and Adam were cast. Now it is our sacred duty to likewise cast out the evil that has infested it and restore it to perfection. Sounds like good old ancient Christianity and or Catholicism. William Eastgrove is right. With the Constance sunk by Spaniards who now encircle Fort Henry and whose scouts have been glimpsed on the hills above Fort St. George, it is madness to leave ourselves spread among so many settlements and outposts. We must marshal our men and push the Catholics back into the sea, lest they whittle us away before help arrives from England. Once again, my stock of items now offers new choices. I hope that some of them may win your affection. I'll go with that. There's a difference between a bonfire with the community and a bonfire of the community. Affordable musket. Yeah, but it was kind of a crappy musket. I don't need that. Probably should have gone with the longbow quiver. Common longbow, quality longbow, common shortbow, common musket. Yeah, I'll probably find more muskets, so I think I'm fine without that. Let's, ring-a-ling. Alright, so there's someone... What is that? How are you supposed to expect me to find this thief if I don't even know where he is by the time he escapes? I feel gypped, man. This black and white effect reminds me of the demon mode in Painkiller. I don't think I've ever heard of Painkiller before. What's that about? We'll go here. We'll take care of this totem up here that's gonna appear. I guarantee it will. There you are. Oh, corruption's gone that quick, eh? Alright. Cool with that. See you out here, Wraithy boy. Talk to me. Lost my way. Sound of the bell. Go to it. It calls for you. It beckons to you. It calls your name. First-person shooter, little old. You're a dude who dies. Eyes were off the road. Oncoming truck was on the road. And has to deal with an invasion of purgatory by the forces of hell by shooting as many of them as you come across. Interesting. I hate allergies. Corruption is once again gone immediately. Nice. Yeah. Gonna head over here. Yeah, more chests. Here and then over there. I'm supposed to get a giant shovel at some point, I guess, to pick through the rest of those things. Has some interesting weapons, like a stake gun that launches sections of telephone pole at enemies, or the gun that shoots shurikens and lightning. See, when you said stake gun, I automatically pictured it just shooting cows. Like T-bone, prime rib. Or is that pork? I'm not a meat person that much. I mean, I am. I like meat, but... Ustis Cage, dead of sickness. Was your head taken from you? Quite so. I shall seek to return it to you. That's intense, though. Sections of telephone pole? Yeesh. Shurikens and lightning. Dug up a stopped bottle of wine. It is mostly full. Almost empty bottle of wine. This is the last of the wine. Let this bottle mark an end to the business. Do not test the limits of my indulgence, for the value of your silence decreases by the day. Where is Winifred? I must find my wife. Where did you last see her? I remember she was in a field brushing a horse. I called to her and she waved to me. Who are you? Captain Calvin Stevens. Found a bloody cloth in the field outside the walls. Remember I called to Winifred and she waved to me. Suddenly the horse screamed and reared up and threw her aside. The beast trampled her as it lunged away and leapt the wall. I ran to her, tearing a strip from her gown to try and staunch the bleeding. Then I saw the girl, Emma Clark, standing by the fence, staring dumbly, her hands bloody. I called out to her, but she ran away. Some weapons have a hidden secondary mode. The shuriken gun can fire shurikens or lightning beam. Or if you fire the lightning and the shurikens at the same time, it fires an entire ammo disc supercharged with electricity that sticks to whatever it hits and zaps any enemies that gets near it. Holy crap. This is called Purgatory? Painkiller. Painkiller, not Purgatory. I'm gonna have to look this game up. Was it on PC or console? It can surely only be a matter of weeks now before a supply fleet reaches us and we can leave these cursed shores forever. Our sole occupation in the interim must be to withstand the manifold dangers that presently threaten us, from hunger and malady to savages and Spaniards to whatever fiends howl in the forest by night. How shall I find my way home? Go to the sound of the bell. PC Painkiller Black Edition is available on Steam and GOG. I'll have to look into that. cool. Another tomahawk. What was that? Silver skull. Interesting. That was Scoopy. That was Scoopy, guys. That was very Scoopy. Spooky. Whoa. There's a lot of old games that I'd like to play. I'd love to play through the original Marathon games. Hey, Hasty. How you doing? Ooh, a quality pistol. I'll take that. Sell that commoner filth. Let's see. Okay, now I need to go this way. It's a very dark game. Apparently it does not affect the dark world. This is a static scape. You only have so much wiggle room with a 4-bit grayscale palette. I mean, you're not wrong. But like in the overworld, you can make it as dark as this one, or you can make it brighter. But in this other world, you can't do either. I rhymed. Winifred Stevens' beloved wife. So he buried her. Alright, well, let's go back to town. Then we'll do those 4 up here. This totem here. And apparently the 2 things off the map there. Where is that girl? I keep calling for her, but she won't answer. Who? My maidservant, Emma Clark. Where did you last see her? In front of the church, our eyes met for just a moment through the congregation. I called out to her, but she couldn't hear. Who are you? Charity Hammond. It appears someone was burned at the stake in front of the church. I remember now. Our eyes met for just a moment through the congregation. I called out to her, but she couldn't hear over the shouting and chanting. Then the flames rose up and she started to scream. Why was she burned? It was Calvin Stevens who sentenced her. Oh, because she didn't do anything for your wife? You sentenced Emma Clark to burn? It isn't enough to kill a witch, she had to be purified. So, oh, yep, that is definitely a church. Oh, hello. Why did he forsake me? Who? The master? Who do you mean? Mr. Hammond? Tobias. You are Emma Clark? So I remember now. Calvin Stevens saw you standing by the fence with bloody hands when his wife was trampled. I remember walking back toward the fort through the woods with Tobias. He cried out suddenly and drew his pistol. I was terrified, but it was only a hare we had startled from the bush. Or from the brush. Tobias took aim and fired, but the shot didn't kill it. It was screaming and writhing horribly, so I ran up to it and wrung its neck so that it would not suffer. I wiped my hands on the leaves, but it couldn't get the blood off. After that, I walked back alone so we would not be seen together. Emma's hands were stained with rabbit blood. The smell must have spooked the horse. Yet only the morning Winifred told me that girl had stolen a child and bewitched a gentleman of the colony. What happened cannot have been chance. Whose child was stolen? Charity Hammond's, and it was her husband who was bewitched. She testified to it. Guys, this is getting scandalous. Testified that Emma stole your child and bewitched your husband. I only told the truth, that I lost the child I was carrying shortly after Emma came to work for me, and that I was desperate to conceive again, but Tobias would not lie with me. In the end, he gave Emma what should have been mine. She was pregnant. You didn't claim it was witchcraft? No, though I didn't claim it wasn't, but it was Tobias who truly sealed her fate, saying that he had been snared by her sorcery and led into iniquity against his will. When he killed himself, some said it was her curse still on him, but it was only guilt for betraying her. Dang. It's getting super dark. I'll get the quality musket. Go to my inventory. And equip that over the pistol for now. So now we gotta do those things. You know, I must say, I'm really glad that we're not, like, obsessed with everything being sorcery and witchcraft anymore. Because this would be a very sucky world to live in with something as dark as that constantly happening. Captain Harper called an assembly this morning laying out his plan for building the main settlement in a valley to the west, on land ceded by the Naturals. At that, there were some outcries, but he invited any man who thought he could survive the winter without the help of the tribe to go and try. Could you guys imagine living in a world where they still burned people at the stake for witchcraft? Like, if that's not spooky, I don't know what is. Great quantity of blood soaked into the soil here. Still hear her screams, I can't escape them. Whose? Emma's. I prayed it would end quickly, but it did not. I prayed for mercy, but there was none. You're Tobias Hammond. Yes, you testified against Emma. I remember their faces when they came for her. They thought they'd found the root of our ills. I could see that they would not be swayed. I could not save her. If I tried, I too would have been swept away, hung as an admitted adulterer. Alright, let's head up this way. You'd probably leave a crater if they did that to you? Why do you say that? You're very fat, probably burned out of control. Now, no offense to you, but that's some funny humor, man. Somehow I doubt you would burn a crater into the earth, though. I've never heard of a fire actually, like, consuming the dirt. Jonas Burkett saw a girl in the woods wearing a devilish mask, dancing naked with a strange creature that was no savage, but something more sinister. Never heard of chlorine trifluoride? I can't say that I have. Francis Lavater died of his injuries fighting the Spanish. Charity Hammond never mentioned witchcraft, for she did not believe that Emma used sorcery. Yet she did not protest when others accused the girl. Could she have truly been so spiteful? Tobias Hammond only testified against Emma to save himself from being punished for adultery. He took his own life soon after she was executed, answering one act of selfish cowardice with another. Why did you let Emma die? I remember our eyes met for just a moment through the congregation. I called out to her, but she couldn't hear over the shouting and chanting. Then the flames rose up and she started to scream, and I found myself hoping all would be just as it was before she came into our lives. Ah, there you are. Something terrible happened here. This place fills me with foreboding. Who did they burn in front of the church? How were the walls breached? The ash figures that were here came to life and attacked me. At first I thought you mad. Now I fear that when you crawled out of the sea, you left some part of you behind. Learn the fate of the Wraith. Charity Hammond allowed her maidservant to burn as a witch because her husband had made her pregnant. It can be that she thought 2 lives were a fair trade for her shame and sorrow. She was gravely mistaken. She that belonged to an Indian girl that Isaac Cantrell killed. Are you giving it to me? To honor her memory. I'm not sure that keeping her shoe is a way to honor her. It would be more sincere and less cumbersome to carry her in my thoughts. Bottle of wine. This is a valuable discovery. Why are you giving it to me? I had hoped it would make you more susceptible to my charms. Thought we might drink in celebration if we survive. As a fine idea, let us hope we live to enjoy it. All right. Very strong oxidizing agent. Basically, it makes things burn, sand, rocks, asbestos. Nothing is safe. That sounds intense. Oh, had I missed this the whole time? Dug up a muddy woman's shoe. Hey, I got another shoe for you to match the other one. We lived here for some time. I remember that it was peaceful at first. I felt hopeful that this would one day be a good home for us. You're barefooted. I think I would rather stay that way than wear only one shoe. But I gave you another shoe. Come on. Developed in World War II by the Germans as incendiary, abandoned because it was too dangerous to work with. Huh. I guess we're pretty glad that they didn't continue to use that, huh? Oh, jeez, there's more. Serpentine! Serpentine! Ow. Alright, we can sell that weathered short bow and that weathered short bow. Keep the other one. I guess we'll switch to the short bow, seeing as I seem to have plenty of ammo for it. Outlying settlement. Alright, so I guess that's the settlement. So we'll work our way around. Just waiting for things to start creeping up on me, and I'm not a fan. I want that shovel now, too. I want to get all the things that I've been missing. My girlfriend, who is a cosmetologist, sends me pictures of her hair color and tells me that this color is something so many people try to get, and I'm not sure what color it is. Chaplain, I have advised Mr. Burden of your concerns about his journal. He asserts that it was Benedict Harper's wish that he document everything he could about the naturals to profit the crown. He reasons that it is not sorcery but superstition that he has recorded, and that it poses no more danger than the myths of the Greeks. I can see no fault in his reasoning. Wow, there's a lot here. Remains of a woman. The front of her skull appears to have been caved in by a heavy blow. Dig up a distinctive wool shawl that's spattered with dried blood. Dig up a large rock caked with dried blood. Well, I think we figured out what smashed her face in. Yeesh. There's gonna be a wraith here. Hey, thanks, Kane, for the 9 bits, man. Welcome to the stream, by the way. I'm doing alright. How are you? Ooh, did I get another musket? I got a worn musket. I have a quality musket, which is much better. Just gotta remember not to sell it. Alright, so there's a settlement here. Stuff here. So I guess we'll continue working our way. I apparently can't hit to save my life. Oh! Stop that. Is that how you want to fight? Huh? Wow! Alright, there's a lot of them. Ah! Bugger! It was someone off to the side. Alright. It's nothing new, I can't aim right. Yeah, I've got trouble with aiming. I've lost my knack for it. Glad to hear you're doing well, though. Is it really morning for you guys? Like, what time is it? What's going on? You can't aim either. It's 4:10 a.m. Jeez. What time is it for you, Eternal? You just greet everyone with morning? Alright, that's fair. Ow. It's 1912. So... Seven? 7:12 a.m.? Am I doing that right? 7:12 p.m. Oh, that's right. 7:12 a.m. would be 7:12. Okay, so Eternal, you are East Coast or West Coast? West Coast, Canada. Gotcha. Alright, what weapons do I have? Gonna swap those out real quick. Yeah, it's not a bad switch to make. It definitely, it's definitely a better universal time than trying to figure out, like... Handbell midwife murdered. Oh, cool, I knocked him out. Ow! That's just the sound that they make to make them sound more bestial, I guess. Mr. Barnes returned with reports of Indian sentries fanned out to the west to intercept any party attempting to pass that way. He has found a promising route that should take us well south of the disputed area to avoid any quarrel. It is my wish that we conclude this expedition without harming the friendship we have built with the tribe. By order of Honorable Lord Governor James Markley, from this day forward, no member of this colony shall consort or have conference with the naturals without leave of captain or council upon pain of death. For even a small personal feud between one man and another might lead to a great rift between us and the tribe that could cost many English lives. Finks is back! At considerable risk to my personal welfare, I've found a few additional items. These were hard-won prizes and therefore offered at a somewhat higher price than would normally ask. But such is the way of a merchant trade. What did you find? Absolutely nothing looks any different. Charm of the Grace, maybe? What do I have? I've got a shoddy longbow, a weathered crossbow. Let's go with the common crossbow. So the cracked longbow. That's my only short bow. Warren musket, quality musket. So the Warren musket, the rusty musket, the crude pistol, and the weathered crossbow. There we go. Now everything is of moderate price. Hey, is that 2 bits? You guys and your 2s, man. Should sleep soon. You have a lot to do tomorrow or today. That means you can't stay very long. You've got a long weekend ahead. Well, hopefully it's an exciting weekend. It's totally cool that you can't stay, man, you know? You got stuff you gotta do. You blame Sore? Who's Sore? Oh, you mean Sore from Like Clay? Screw that game and the cult that it spawned. That's the real horror. Gosh, when do I get this big old shovel? Yes, it's a very big family thing. I wish I could describe it better. It's not exactly something that can... Is it like a family reunion? Quality charm of ferocity. No, it's not like a family reunion. Okay. It's a mix of family tradition and religious tradition. And it's normal to do around age 14 to 16. So is it specifically dedicated to the 14 to 16-year-old? and it's like a celebration of something they're doing family slash religion wise. Because it almost sounds like a bar mitzvah or a bar mitzvah in the Jewish culture. It's a celebration of the person. Gotcha. It's less strict. You're not dishonored if you refuse. Did not know that about a bar mitzvah. Ow! Ow! Oh, you buggers! Shot me through a house. Hey, lady. Found you unconscious and brought you here. I'm glad to see you recovered. Couldn't bring your scrapped items, so you should go and retrieve them when you can, but here's something that you might find useful. Thanks. Can I buy better stuff? It can be seen as the Christian version of that, but less strict if you're not to say. Whoop. Where you at? Where you at? You're over here somewhere. To say it's basically a choice that you make about believing in Christianity, not like the basic concepts of the religion at least. Oh, yep, they're coming. Hello. And it's happening this Saturday. Sounds almost like a christening or a baptism. Dying isn't that bad. Could be worse. It's almost like baptism part 2. Yeah, I guess depending on which, what culture you grow up in, a baptism is often done when you're young. However, for me, the baptism was a choice around the age of 13 or 14, I think. You could do it really whenever you wanted. I chose around that time. Yeah, I figured there it was done when you were a baby. Um, Ow. Is it sad that the one thing my brain has latched onto is that there is no way your dude should be able to draw a crossbow by hand? Funny thing is, when it was my turn, our priest didn't believe in God. How does that work? I feel like you shouldn't be in the position of a priest if you can't properly or wholeheartedly teach. Don't question it, man. I'm just supernatural. Oh, great. Who did I piss off? Everyone? Everyone. Ow! Oop! Run away! Ow! Today I was told a story of two brothers. While hunting, the younger one slipped and fell from a high path and was injured. So the older one made a shelter for him and lit a fire and said he would return when he had finished the hunt, for their family would soon starve if they returned home empty-handed. When night fell, a strange voice called out and asked to share the fire, for the night was cold and evil things were afoot. The wounded hunter agreed, and soon a skeleton came forward and sat down on a flat stone beside him. The hunter trembled with fear but said nothing, and when he awoke the next morning, the skeleton was gone. He thought it must have been a dream, but that night the skeleton returned again and asked to share the fire. Again neither of them spoke, and again the skeleton was gone by daybreak. Just before nightfall on the third day, the older brother returned. He was very solemn, for he had killed no quarry, but knew he must return the younger brother home before he became too weak to travel. It was too late to depart, so they decided to leave at dawn. The younger brother, warned that they might have a visitor, insisted that the older brother must tolerate their guest no matter how he felt upon seeing him. The older brother agreed. Soon enough, the strange voice called out, just as it had before. The older brother recoiled when he saw the skeleton come forward into the firelight, but the younger brother put a hand on his arm, and they all sat quietly until the brothers finally fell asleep. When they woke in the morning, the skeleton was gone, and 3 freshly killed rabbits lay before them on the stone where the skeleton had sat. Found a simple wooden hairpin. Interesting. That's a cool little story. Wonder what it means. It's also very unrealistic how you easily break those crates completely apart. But game logic. Yeah, no, you know, man, I'm just hammering away with my heavy arm here. We were served by the Indian king's own daughter, a most inquisitive and lovely girl. Her name is Amanute. Dug up a silver pin that appears to have housed a cameo. The cameo is missing. I mean, if I'm strong enough to break a box open like this with a swing of a hatchet, or whatever it is that I use, then surely I must be strong enough to pull back a crossbow. Even I have seen these figures of smoke drifting among the trees in the days since Benedict Harper departed. If we are to believe the savages that they were roused by the trespasses of the expedition party, then we must believe them that it is our treasure of gold and silver that the apparitions covet, and so such valuables must be hidden away. With your butter knife, which can totally break open crates. Yeah, man. Butter knives are super powerful. You don't even know. So I guess I'll go here and then work my way down. Ow. These are some rude dudes, let me tell you. Yeah, it's not really horror. It's pretty serene and an interesting story for sure. We came across an Indian camp where 6 hunters lay dead of a strange sickness. Their skin was blackened and their eyes clouded over, and the stench about them was so foul we could scarcely approach. 95 coins. Hot dog. Making it big, guys. Alright. Where am I? I'm over here, so I need to go down. Did I hit those? I didn't. I'm gonna go over here, then there, then there, then up there. That's how I'll do this. Yeah, like this game definitely has some of the best ambient like effects that I've seen. Wind blowing and shaking the trees. Like it's really cool. John Pori died of sickness. Like, listening to wind blow like this really just makes me wish I could lay out in a field, basking in the sun as the cool breeze chills me. Like, that'd be great. So there are a few chests over here, but no totems this time around. Peculiar. Tell you what, though, this crossbow's the way to go, man. Ooh, a quality short bow? Heck yeah. I'm just getting quality everything except for my longbow and my crossbow. Well, quality crossbow will be almost as powerful as the musket. Things you don't want to hear your little sister say about your friends while walking by while they're staying over. Who's the hot guy? Things you don't want to hear your little sister say about your friends while walking by while staying. Oh, she said that to me? She thought it was a video. I mean, it technically is a video. Here lies Ralph Brewster. Screw you. I don't want none. I mean, you could always tell her to come back and let me know, and then I'll just wave to her. Blow her a kiss. Fan service. That's where it's at. Hey, don't be embarrassed. I am very flattered that you think so. Oh, well then. Where do... Ah, here. Alright, so we'll go to those two corrupted chests, go here, talk to those two wraiths, back here and talk to that wraith. Not wrong about what? Where are you? Hey! Thanks for the bits, Kane. There's the totem I'm looking for. Whoa! 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 That was more than I bargained for. Oh, well, thank you. I mean, I'm not gonna say I find myself ugly. I'm a pretty decent looking dude, I'd like to hope anyway. Women are definitely complicated, but it's perfectly natural, nothing to be embarrassed of. Except for maybe the fact that you're communicating it with me, you know. I could understand her being embarrassed of that. That's one thing. You're kind of throwing her under the bus right now. Maybe it was over here. Also fair. Is this one of the sisters that you sent Snapchats of like a week or two ago? Embarrassing her is your secondary job. You're not wrong. That was your big sister daughter? Confusion? I'll just turn my head sideways like a dog. The younger sister to the one we're celebrating, actually. Oh, it was your niece. Your big sister and your niece? Okay, well, I thought there were two. In one of them, anyway. I've lost my way home, sound of the bell will guide you. Get you one. Big sister's kid, her youngest daughter. How did I miss this? The remains of a man. Among them you find a bloody shirt, now crusted and dry, with a ragged tear near the nape of the neck. Did I go to this thing? It's that way. The other picture was of big sister. Okay. Yeah, that's... Okay, that makes sense. That's what I was trying to get straight in my mind. I was like, I know there were two people. There it is. $250 coins. Hot dog. You also have an older brother with a 1-year-old daughter. Wow. How many siblings do you have? 4? 3? 4 total, including you? My sister Catherine hasn't returned. Where did you last see her? I remember striking her. She was in tears. She ran out of the house. I was seething with anger, though I don't remember why. Who are you? Lewis Archard. Found the shawl near the remains of a woman not far from here. I remember staring down at her, wondering how it had come to this, wondering what I had done. Do you recognize this bloody shirt? I remember Jeffrey Hunt writhing on the ground, moaning in agony. I could see he was dying, but I stayed with him until the end. 3. So yes, there are a total of 4. Gotcha. So you are the third child, second youngest. And how old are you again, Kane? You're 27. Okay. What are the gaps between you and your siblings? Must apologize to Lewis. I must tell him I'm sorry for making him angry. Is this your wool shawl? Yes. You must be Catherine Archard. Yes. What happened to you? I couldn't breathe. Hands were choking me. I tried to pull them away, but they were too strong. I grabbed his fingers and twisted as hard as I could. His voice cried out, savage and guttural, and his grip loosened. Clambered away and ran. I realized I was holding his ring. It must have come off in my hand. Found a gold ring inlaid with 3 small rubies from the size. It was likely worn by a man. Your little sister is 23. Okay, so that's 4-year gap between you two, 10-year gap between you and your brother, and an 8-year gap between you and your sister. thief has been slain. I don't know what that means. Those are some pretty big gaps. From 37 to, what'd you say, 23? If your sister's 23, she's perfectly fine calling other people hot. Like, let's be fair here. Recognize this gold ring. It is mine. Told Catherine she must stay away from Jeffrey Hunt. She said she would not. I remember yelling at her then, but still she argued, so I struck her. She was in tears. She ran out of the house. I was seething with anger. So do I go back here to talk to this guy now? Yes. Who are you? Found a stone knife. Dried blood is caked on the blade. Alright, fine. Don't tell me who you are. Ah, okay. I was gonna say, wow. Your mother must have either started having children really young or kept having children as she got older. Do you recognize the stone knife? I remember now. I remember staring down at Catherine, wondering how it had come to this, wondering what I had done or what I had failed to do. I saw that she was clutching my gold ring, the one Jeffrey Hunt had taken from me when I told him never to hurt her again. She seized my arm and pulled the ring off, saying next time I threatened him, it would cost me more than a trinket. I remember him writhing on the ground, moaning in agony, but I could see he was dying, but I stayed with him until the end to make sure. I left this knife in the wounds that it would be thought that Indians had killed him, and I would not have to answer for his death. So do all your siblings have as awesome names as you do? Cain. I like it. I find this part of the game really interesting, the figuring out what happened. Yeah. It's not so much like figuring out like an investigative thing, but kind of reminding them. Causing them to have to reconcile for their crimes, almost. Oldest to youngest. Okay. We often passed through this area, but rarely stayed very long. Those who lived here seemed to have little use for the rest of us. They were eager to be away from the larger settlements, even knowing there were no walls or soldiers to defend them. Learn the fate of a wraith. Louis Archibald killed the man who killed his sister. Then he made himself a murderer to avenge a murder. He prized his desire for vengeance above his neighbor's desire for order and justice. This cameo pendant. Can be bartered. I don't like the idea of trading away someone's jewelry, but it can be of little value to its owners now. This gold ring. It would fetch a fair price in England. Little interest and it's worth in England, for I'm not in England. Darn. Seems an ordinary hairpin. Why are you giving this to me? It has practical value and should not go to waste. And though I already have one, I shall keep it in case I lose mine. Thank you. Should have called her beautiful that time again. Liam, Diana, Cain, and Amy. And yes, these aren't typical Danish names. Your father was British, or was when he lived. Gotcha. I did not know that Cain was a typical British name. You learn something new. You don't think it? Okay. I was about to say, like, Liam, Diana, and Amy seem like they're definitely not names that you commonly hear in the US, but they definitely seem like, I guess, frequently used names or more common names. Kane seems like the odd one out. You think your mom liked to be creative? Hey, at least she didn't give you all the same initials. Per? Like, is that PER is per? Never heard that as a name. Or Gertrude. Oh. Heaven have mercy on the person named Gertrude. Olaf is also Scandinavian, like Olaf One Eye. Olaf One Eye from Skyrim. Olaf I've heard before. Per I've never heard. If that's how it's pronounced. Today I heard a story about a vain woman who fancied herself beautiful above all women. She coveted jewelry and trinkets to make herself more desirable when she preened and posed. Many young men wooed her, but she was only interested in the affections of the strongest, most prosperous suitors. One day she overheard a group of old crones talking about 3 brothers who lived alone in the deep forest. They were fearless hunters and mighty warriors, and said to be handsome above all men. The woman demanded to know where she might find these brothers, but the crones told her she should stay far away from them, for they were as cruel and vicious as they were cunning and capable. But she insisted, knowing, and was quickly on her way to find the brothers. She was still walking when darkness fell, but soon she saw a fire ahead and made her way to it. Sure enough, around it sat 3 of the finest men she had ever beheld. She walked forward to the firelight to announce herself, but the brothers fell upon her at once, ravishing her like the beasts they were, so that her screams carried through the forest. She woke early the following morning in terrible pain, bloodied and bruised and stripped of her pride. The brothers laid sprawled on the grass in deep and carefree slumber, so she took up an axe and hacked off their heads one by one. She returned to the crones who had told her of the brothers, and hacked them to death, then wandered through the village hacking apart anyone she met until finally several hunters managed to drag her down. She was so powerful was her anger that they could barely restrain her, so one of them grabbed up the axe and struck off her head. Still, she seethed and raged with such ferocity that there was no choice but to cut off her limbs, but still the parts of her writhed with murderous intent. Finally, they dug a great hole. Inside the hole, they built a great fire. They cast all the pieces of her into the flames, but when they saw that they wouldn't burn, they covered over the hole with soil and heavy stones, and placed powerful charms in a circle around it to warn all who passed near. It is said that if you go to where she lies, you can feel the earth tremble with her rage. Yikes. Then you get names that only make sense in Danish, like Per or Ol or Ole. In Denmark, Kim is the guy's name? Kim, okay. 7 bits for the great storytelling and Cody's voice. Thanks. Thanks for the bits. I like to read things. I've been long debating about doing a like reading creepypasta or short stories or something on YouTube, just for the fun of it. You'd listen to that? Well, thank you. If you have any short stories or creepypastas that you'd like me to read, I will absolutely do that. Right now, my quality short bow is of the same caliber, so might as well stick with it. Grave appears to have been dug up and filled back in. The name on the marker is illegible. Yes! A digging spade, well suited to breaking through hard soil. It's about time. Dug up a small key. Quality charm of swiftness. Well, hey, if you think of any or find any that are translated to English, I'll do that. Find any in English or translated to English, I guess I should say. Richard Prodger killed by savages. Yes, keep your eyes open. Yes. Sounds like I need to make a new channel called Squire's Tales. And have people suggest ones. Commander's musket? I'm sorry, what? 140? Jeez, that's a huge jump. Yeah, I'll go with that. I have a very bad stream mentality. I should go to sleep for some hours so I'm not tired today, but I want to stay. It's interesting. Look, man, if you need to go get sleep, go get you some sleep. I will probably be stopping shortly just because I don't want to stay up too late. I intend to stream all day tomorrow for World of the West. Dug up a brown leather rapier scabbard with intricate silver buckles and fittings. The shape that's protected, its tip is missing. Great quantity of blood seeped into the soil here. Sadly, you do have to go to bed. Well, then it sounds like I should go take this fort up here. Night Eternal, thanks for stopping by, man. Probably sometime in the morning whenever I wake up. Maybe like 10-ish? 10 a.m. my time? Eastern Standard Time? GMT -5, I think. Just so you can do what you have to as early as you can. Where'd that other one go? There you are. Wait, what did it say? I missed it. Darn it. You want to miss as little as possible? I'm planning around 10, as long as it's actually like released and I can play it as soon as I wake up. The captain said that Allison Markley started screaming and then fainted dead away. When they finally roused her, she began to sob, saying that her sister was dead. So it sounds like Little Red Riding Hood over here is Allison Markley. Dug up an ornamental silver shape for a rapier scabbard. Sounds like the one I'm missing. Noose hangs from the crossbeam. It is no heathen curse that afflicts us. It is the punishment from God, for we are parley in his enemies when we should strike them down. Or for we parley with his enemies when we should strike them down. We must not fear them, even if every last savage rises against us, for God is with us. Don't want to miss a thing. I don't even know what you're singing there, but I want to break into song with you. Dang, look at all those arrows, man. Savage is surely attacked, quote unquote. The Indians, they took them. Collected a bell. It's over here. It's another grave. Nicholas Tucker. It's an Aerosmith song. Which one? The only one I know is Dream On. When you would not grant him audience, Griffin May traveled to my home to accost me with his usual litany of complaints, delivered with his usual wearisome fervor. It was all I could do to send him on his way before the dark, lest he think to impose upon my hospitality for the night. Hospitality? Hospitality. Did I get everything? Alright, looks like I got everything here. So let's summon Ghost Town. Gimme. Thank you. It's called I Don't Wanna. Hey, babe. Welcome back.
It was here that I last saw my sister. I remember waking in the darkness. I felt her trembling beside me and realized she was crying. She wouldn't tell me why. She said I wouldn't understand. The next morning she was gone. No one had seen her. There was no trace of her. She never would have left without telling me. She would have said goodbye. I was frightened to move here, but I found I was happier here than St. Fort George for a while at least.
There's one more page I saw out here.
I suspect the missing bell was taken by Morris Abbots, for he has often complained that its pealing unsettles the creatures of the forest and keeps them from his snares. Though it is more likely that reeking pipe he insists on smoking. Can it be chance that the bell vanished the very morning he left with a cart of supplies to return to his cabin in the woods? Be wary that he doesn't try to steal the other bell upon his next visit. I am hunted and haunted in equal measure. I have sustained wounds and bruises to my body and my pride, yet I still have managed to secure several items of fine quality. I hope they are of interest, as you seem to be my last customer. Your friend, John Howe.
Quality crossbow. Look at that, baby. Exceptional musket. Not as good as my other one. There we go. All right. You also read the song name wrong? Oh, I don't want to miss a thing. I don't remember what I said, honestly. Oh, that's cool. The shadows actually, like, move. You guys can't see it, but those shadows were moving right there. Anyway. I'm going to go ahead and call it a night so I can get some sleep, so you guys can get some sleep, and I will see you all tomorrow for World to the West. Have a good night, guys. Thanks for coming. I appreciate it. Happy to have you. You get some rest, and we'll see you tomorrow.